Assalamualaikum and welcome to the podcast. Today we have two guests who are going to be speaking about their experience of growing up in Syria. Introduce yourself.
I am Abdullah, also known as AJ. That would be my mum, my sister. And yeah, we've grown up here. I've been here since 2013 when I was 13 years old. And on to you, mate.
I'm Hijrah, aka Niqabi Rider. Currently I'm 18 and I've been in Syria since I was 10. So yeah, 8 years.
Did you see how she plugged herself like that? That's like the thing.
I was going to elaborate on us.
Now let's see what you got. What you got for us? We actually don't know nothing about what's gonna come.
I want to ask you first. Give me a word that describes you best.
What a question.
Word that describes me best.
I would say adventurous.
Adventurous. Okay. I would say, I don't know. I don't have a word that describes me best. I think I'm abnormal.
Well, all right. Second question. I'm going to give you just to kind of like warm up the podcast. Best memory of being a teen.
Well, I'm still currently a teenager, so
Yeah, so best memory so far. You've had 5 years of being a teenager. Have you?
Best memory of me being a teen.
No, this is such a hard question.
Living with the boys in the AJ manor. I was gonna call it the AJ manor. Basically the media office. That's my best memory of being a teen. Especially out here in Syria.
I can't just choose one, too many.
So I might elaborate on that.
Give us something. Worst memory of being a teenager.
What is this question?
Worst memory of being a teenager.
But the last year we've filled with so many bad memories. Actually 2 years ago, 2020.
So what's your worst memory? Just gonna start crying.
No.
Worst memory of being...
Yeah, it's having someone being arrested in front of me and not being able to do anything about it. By HTS.
Oh, that's up.
A sister. She was a sister and she was arrested in front of her children, in front of me. And yeah, we couldn't do anything about it.
I think worst memory for me was more Mama to keep being in prison than that.
For Mama, we could still do things.
We knew where he was, alhamdulillah.
But it was still
With
thingy.
his sister, whether she's guilty or she's not, she's done something. For now, it's been how many months?
But I wasn't a teen actually, so it doesn't count.
Exactly, it's not a bad memory.
Bad memory for me when I was a teen. I don't think I have a bad memory, actually. On a real, I don't think I've actually had a bad memory of me being a teen.
I thought your whole teenage life was a bad memory.
Nah, it was a blur, but it's not a bad memory.
Dream.
So you got no bad memories at all?
That's very nice.
No, I don't have a bad memory.
Okay, so
Question number 4.
life as a teen in the UK versus Syria.
Now, obviously, we can only answer this compared to our friends or the life that we see on social media for people, like people or teens growing up in the UK.
Not necessarily, because I was 11, 12, so I had my first teen years in England.
They're not your teens.
12 is not a teen.
Yeah, but-
You begin to when you're 13.
Pre-teens.
So you can't.
Yeah, but like pre-teens, you can still kind of gauge.
Secondary school and stuff.
I went to
Moving
secondary
on,
school.
Like in life, but you wasn't in the UK. Like for the start, you was.
I was,
13.
that's what I'm saying. I had like a couple months of being
Obviously,
13,
you
but
can't
even my
compare
pre-teen
13
years.
to being 19 or 20, or no, 20, 19 or 18.
Now, I would say, if I was going to answer this question, my thing is, you learn and you experience more while being out here than compared to there.
Alhamdulillah, I think we have a lot more things than other average teenagers will have.
A lot
in
more
the
things,
But-
material things.
Yeah, what thing?
What do you mean?
Or experiences, I would say more experiences.
Yeah, experience. But to add to that, you have a lot more stress.
Of course, but that's...
100%.
I agree with that.
If you're being real,
I agree with
we
that.
have the stress of not knowing what's going to happen next. You have the stress of, that you're not from the land, so anything can happen to you. Like we were talking off camera before the podcast, that nobody knows what's going to happen to them. tomorrow we could all just be shipped off in a boat from prison cell under the ground. What I'm saying, let's
Mela.
Under the ground.
no, to take it to prison cell under the ground. What I'm saying is, that's what it is. Like, even Mount Key going to prison, nobody knew that was going to happen. And we kind of, it's anticipated in our life that may happen. But it's like walking on a path with mist in front of you. You don't know what's going to happen to you.
Wouldn't you say the same about the UK?
No.
Growing up in the UK?
No.
Obviously, there's a big difference. Like there, obviously here being a stranger, like alhamdulillah, it's not, I don't always feel like a stranger. Like alhamdulillah, I can talk the lingo, I can get around, I can pass as a Syrian. But in the end of the day, you are still a stranger. Like it's still not your home.
No, but not only that, you're always an outsider. You're always an outsider. Even if you speak the lingo, even if you have friends that are Syrians, you are still not from the land.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on your point.
So yeah, I'd say yes, you get that experience, which is amazing, but it also comes with stress. You have to think like an adult. Even if you're a teen, you got to think like an adult. This is what I'll say to you. There is no such thing as teen years in Syria. That's how I see it.
Shout out to adult.
Child to adult, bang.
Obviously, there's some people in the UK whose lives are like that. But if we're talking about how I would see my life in the UK, my teenage years, and here completely different. Obviously, I do believe that we are more mature and we have to be more mature here. But at the same time, alhamdulillah, we have had fun times.
Yeah, obviously.
Alhamdulillah, there's still so many, as I said first, there's so many good memories.
It's forced maturity, innit? You have to make that step. There's no what do you call it?
Maybe you feel that way. Like I understand where you're coming from, but I don't fully agree. Like you do have to be a bit more mature, but you can still have that fun, if that's what you're trying to talk about.
No,
obviously, they say teenage years are supposed to be
I'm
fun
not
and
saying
that.
How about, okay, so you're saying it's more stressful here. How about you,
Yeah.
right? And you don't like this topic, but you growing up as a teenage boy in East London, where knife crime is rife,
Cool.
guns are now on the streets.
Cool.
That's like...
Cool.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that's life here. But what I'm saying is on steroids.
That's life here on steroids.
Yeah, let's be real.
In the end of the day, we're still in a war zone.
What I'm saying is, this is what I always say to people. Don't tell me about the hood because you ain't been in a war. Do you understand? I don't want to hear about no hood, no young thug boy on the street because you ain't done nothing compared to what we've been through out here. And they will tell you they haven't.
Like, alhamdulillah, yeah, we have been in the safe areas and stuff, but in the end of the day, it's a war zone.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
In the end of the day, it's a war zone.
that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but so as you could say the streets of London now.
No, you can't.
It's turf war over.
Yeah, but you can't
It's
compare
terrible,
it.
Would you not say here the life is a bit more, there's more purpose to it?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, there is. Especially,
No, but
alhamdulillah, with the work that we're
there's a
doing.
purpose to your life, wherever you are. Whether you agree it is.
Of course you can-
I'm being
you
real.
can
That's what it
have.
is. So
But-
what it is, like,
As a 13, 14-year-old boy from a single parent home in the UK.
That's what I'm saying. Compare your own, how you think your life would have gone. Like for me, alhamdulillah, no. Like here, alhamdulillah, I'm horse riding. I'm teaching in a nursery, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Like I'm doing lots of things that I would not be able to do in the UK at the same age.
I did that in the UK. I done archery.
You done it, but not to the
done
same
horse
level,
riding.
alhamdulillah, that I have it.
Bro, what I'm saying is, at the same time, you can do that if you want to do that.
For us, I don't think.
I believe, look,
I don't
let's be
think,
real.
for example, mommy would be able to afford that for me in the UK.
It's not that. Let me tell you what the reality is, yeah, and how I see it. I believe a human or a young lad, a teen, an adult, you have that choice to make. So if you want to be that road boy, that gangster in East London or in Syria, you're going to do that. And if you want to do horse riding or anything else in England or here, you're going to do that.
No, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Look, let's see, 1 hour of horse riding, for example. How much money would that come up to? Whereas here, alhamdulillah, I can do unlimited horse riding for free.
What I'm saying is, it's the choices you make that make your person.
I don't completely agree. I don't completely agree.
Why? Because now, look, if you look at a lot of the youth that are outside, yeah, from our age, yeah, and even like the road boys and whatnot, they know, and even in their films, in the movies, all of this stuff, they know that that's not the life, and everybody's trying to get out of that life. Even the ones that
Yeah,
were
but
forced
why-
into
Yeah, but even like that,
it. But some people were forced into it. Yes, I agree.
Like I was watching recently, watching a documentary, and how many knives they're putting now in the bins.
Yeah.
Did you see the amount of knives
But
and
Allah
what
Mubarak,
type? And what type of,
isn't that a good thing?
but what type of weapons and why are small kids carrying think there was things
because they're afraid of it
kitchen
themselves.
utensils,
Like a
and
can
then
opener.
machetes like this big. People walk around on the streets.
What I'm
Feel that
saying
they
is-
have to walk.
Even that, I feel like here, it's obviously a war zone. Being in a war zone, I still feel safer. Like I can walk around by myself and stuff. Like when I talk to my friends and my cousins and stuff, and they're like, yeah, like we don't feel like we can walk around on the streets and stuff alone. I'm just like, wow, because like I'm here, but I feel completely safe like that.
Obviously, for me, it's not like.
But what's changed in the UK since we left? Do you see, like, obviously one thing I was shocked about is now recently when there was a murder case and that house women were talking about how they can't walk around the streets like she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of safety and security,
Yeah, they say it's rubbish
I
there.
agree with it
Like
to some
even like
extent.
lots of people, obviously not everything you see on the internet is real and stuff, and even everything we share and stuff, we don't like you can't really take it and think that's the life that we're living or whatever. But a lot of people message and like
we try and show
a lot of people
reality.
message me like, you know what, you're so lucky that you're out there, you don't have to be living the life here. And sometimes I do agree with them. Like once I was talking to someone, I was like, yeah, it is still hard, like being away from your family and your loved ones and stuff. But when you actually talk about the things they're suffering from, it's like for me was one of the main things. Like you don't feel like you can walk around the street or be on the subway or be on a bus. So if not for me, alhamdulillah, I feel completely safe like that. Maybe it's being around Muslims as well. I'm not saying there's no cases here. There's no murder cases. There's no rape cases and stuff. I'm not saying that, but
on the flip side of that
alhamdulillah, it's less.
because here, for me, as a foreigner, as someone that's not from the land, as one of the boys that is very like, I'm known that I'm like anti all of this gang stuff, all of this whatever. Bruv, out here, people try and do stuff. I've been in so many fights. I'm one of the foreigners that's been in the most fights out here in Syria. Do you understand? So when you're talking about, it depends, innit? When you're talking about safety on the streets, when Mount Q was in prison, there was no safety for me on the streets.
But that was for all of us.
But that's
At
what
that
I'm
time,
saying.
there was
So
no
what I'm
safety
saying-
for all of us.
what
But
I'm
it
saying
still,
is everything
it
goes
still
through
wasn't.
stages.
It still wasn't on the level of
Yeah,
what
but
people feel at
everything goes
home.
through stages. When we were in England, it wasn't like that, what they're going through now. Like, yes, to an extent it was, but it's gone a lot worse now than it was then.
that's what it is.
And we have that situation
looking
here
at the
as
life
well.
over there. Okay, in terms of Islamophobia, you're not going to face Islamophobia. You
You're
face
not-
prejudice
You're
because
not
you're
gonna
not
face-
Arab, maybe.
Yeah, you're not going to face Islamophobia here, but
So in regards to you like practicing,
That as well is obviously alhamdulillah, it's nothing on the same level, and especially what they face from Kafir. Like here as well, sometimes you do get taken the mick out of or laughed out or joked off, but it's obviously not the same.
But alhamdulillah, look, with all that being said, it's not that like we're saying, you know, like we're trying to explain that, look, it is hard living out of like your country of birth or wherever you're from. It's not easy and it's not going to be easy. But again, it's down to the choices that you make. Do I regret coming to Syria in the first place? No. Do I regret anything that's happened? No. Do I regret the choices that I made? No. Do you understand? But obviously, I believe that my home is always my home. Do you understand? And from the way that you are dealt with out here, you know that. Do you understand that you are not from the land? And that's how I see it. Like even in a good way. Like even with the Syrians when they were with us, they always say to us, "Are you like crazy? Why would you leave your hometown and come here? Like, are you mad?" Like as a joke. But the reality is that they understand that, you know what, there's uncertainty on what's gonna happen next. For
so
you
obviously
lot.
it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But obviously what I'm trying to draw is obviously the parallels between
Obviously, but this is what it is.
living
Like,
in your home country,
But this is what it
in
is.
your comfort zone, and living out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So if I move into the next question, which is how do you think it's affected your personality in a positive or negative way?
for me, alhamdulillah, I think in a positive way.
I think both of us in a positive.
Alhamdulillah. Like in a, yeah. I don't feel like I will be doing the same things I'm doing now and the same things I'm interested in. Alhamdulillah, the work that we're doing, alhamdulillah, obviously we've been blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do this work. In the UK, I don't think I would be doing the same things and my mindset won't be the same. Like I think, as he said, obviously when you're here, you have to grow up faster. And it also like changes the way you see things. Obviously, living here, you go outside, you see refugees and stuff. So even that's just one thing that, alhamdulillah, you're more grateful than maybe people outside. That, I'm not saying that we're the most grateful people on earth, no. Even us sometimes, like, we forget and we waste or whatever. But I think it's just completely different from being out.
It's a positive, and I do think that, you know, even people outside should travel and should go, you know, to other countries, especially to poor countries, because it teaches you a lot. And as I said, you're not going to get that experience being in England. And that does add to the person that you are. When it comes to charity and stuff, alhamdulillah, I always wanted to do that, even when I was in England. Do you understand? Like, because obviously for me, seeing Mount Key do that, and all
We did. We grew up with the family all doing that, but
That's what it is,
does that
but-
mean we'll still be interested in what the family is doing?
No, I think I would, but again, obviously, there's also stuff like other stuff going on in your life at the same time. So yeah, like right now, our life is live, breathe, like the charity work. Alhamdulillah, like is a pro. It's not a con to it, but obviously at the same time, sometimes it gets tiring. Sometimes you're like,
Alright, I'll say obviously one of the negatives that I see
yeah,
in terms of being here, because you guys have addressed the negatives as well, and I don't want to see like this bias. So for me, one of the biggest things that obviously has affected your lives in
your eyes.
my sense, so I kind of feel that due to being over here, you haven't been able to be educated in the same way you would be.
It's true. I agree with that point.
in the UK.
Yeah.
So whether it's to do with structure or the actual education system. So what do you guys think about that?
I agree with that. It's sometimes upsetting that like couldn't continue. So here, I had to stop at year 9. After year 9, you have to be a Syrian, have a Syrian ID card or whatever to continue your studies. So the year 9 is kind of like the GCSEs, you would say. So I had to stop then. But alhamdulillah, obviously with the help of my mum and my family, I continued khalas, just doing it online, doing what I can. Then instead of the academic studies, I did Quran, which then alhamdulillah I could get a certificate for and work with that. Alhamdulillah.
I think that it's a positive.
Like you didn't have to go to school.
No, it's not that I didn't want to go to school, because I actually I like school for the vibe. I'm not really a book like type of person where it's like sit in the class and listen to everyone what they're talking about, unless it's a really enjoyable class. And like in my school, like we had like a couple teachers that were Allah Mubarak sick, but at the same time, I feel like when you're out here or when you're away from that, you realize how important it is. Do you understand? When you're young and you're in school, you're just like flipping this long thing, can't be asked for it, never gonna use it. Yeah, some stuff's never gonna be used in your life, but a lot of it you can use. You understand?
So do you value your education more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think you made enough effort to be able to attain that knowledge while being out here?
I could say like I've done.
Or do you think that you've substituted that knowledge
Yeah,
that you would have got in schools through another?
Yeah, I think I've
method of-
substituted.
another education?
I feel like, obviously, with me, like the main thing that I've done out here is media. It's all self-taught. It's not really. I didn't really have no teachers. I didn't have nothing like that. And I do think that that's something good. Though obviously in my mind I'm always like, you know what? I didn't do my GCSEs. I haven't got those qualifications. I can't get those qualifications for media out here at all. But that's it, innit? Like, alhamdulillah, you know, you just got to carry on.
I agree with him on that point, because for me as well, like most of the things I know is obviously alhamdulillah self-taught and just learnt from being around people. So for example, teaching and stuff, I went around sat in a nursery. So it's also like self-taught, which I think I value that more than studying. Just because you don't have a certificate doesn't mean you can't do something with your life. Or just because I always say to the people, I wasn't given a chance. I said I had to stop at year 9. I couldn't continue my GCSEs because I'm not Syrian, but alhamdulillah I did continue and I'm doing this, this and this.
When it comes to like world-minded, is it called minded? Like what's the word?
Open-minded.
Open-minded, like more of a world.
Worldly matters and stuff like
You
that.
understand? When it comes to stuff like that, I think that I have that in a bag more than anyone else would, and even more than a lot of adults that I know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Understand? So like, yeah, okay, cool. I might not be educated when it comes to English, maths, and science, but there's a lot more that I've learned that people haven't experienced in their life.
So one thing that you didn't mention about what you've gained while being out in terms of education is another language.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I'm
So
trilingual.
initially when you came, you could only speak English.
Yes, correct.
Well, you studied a bit of Arabic.
I studied Arabic.
But it was-
Came out here, and then I was like,
What is this?
what planet have I come to? Because obviously when you're studying Arabic in the UK, you're studying Fusha, which is like
Formal, very formal.
formal Arabic. But when you come out to a country like this, obviously a lot of the people that we see,
Obviously, it's different dialects that they all
it's
have.
not that even when you go to England or London, when you go to East London, no one's going to be talking to you in a posh accent. They're going to look at you like, where the hell have you come from? Like, so that's what kind of happened. We were standing there in the camps and trying to explain to people, and they're just looking at us like, so you're not from here, and do you understand? But alhamdulillah, like, what the best advice that I got from that was one of the Syrians told me, forget everything you learned and restart. So I ended up teaching him English, and he ended up teaching me Arabic. So that's how that happened. But alhamdulillah.
So have you gained or made friends that you ordinarily wouldn't have made, like back at home?
Yeah.
Your friend circle is who at home generally?
Obviously, people, actually, I still talk to my friends and stuff. But obviously, it would be friends from school, and then obviously because I was younger as well, like didn't really go out and meet other people. But it was friends from school and family, cousins and stuff. Consider them as friends. Here, Allahumma barik, no, we have a big, massive circle of friends, and all different.
Got to that level.
That's what I'm saying, because we were still younger. But I don't think I would. I'm a very sociable person, but I don't think I would have this many friends if I was back in the UK.
For me, I don't think I would have, like, obviously with the people that you meet here, they all have stories. Do you understand? Everybody has some kind of
But if you say that everyone in the world has a backstory.
No, everyone in the world has a backstory, but what I'm saying...
companions then?
Friends. It depends, innit? It depends.
Oh yeah, again, I have a different...
Like some of my mates are family. Because you understand? Because of the amount that we've grown up with them. Like, this is one of the things that I think is the most important thing. When you're out here in these countries, you need people from your own country, and this is kind of one of the reasons
you need people from your own country.
Your friends are English speakers,
yeah,
right?
I consider.
I don't. Complete opposite.
These are my mates.
Alhamdulillah, we do have some foreigners who are also considered family, and call them big sister or whatever. But for me, I consider my Syrian friends.
With me,
obviously, I consider them family.
I travelled with these lot. I've worked with. I've been in mad places with these lot. Do you understand? And when you're in that situation, I don't know. Maybe for me it's a bit different.
Like I have foreign friends as well, but
older when you came and you were younger.
Exactly, so
it makes a difference.
Big difference,
so
I think.
You already got into that age. Obviously, you were already a teenager, 13, so you've already got into that stage where you're making your own relationships.
Yeah.
Whereas you came when you was 10, you're still under like the parental kind of guidance.
Is this what it is?
You wasn't
I
in
was
secondary
thinking
school.
even how we call ummi, like.
But it's different for me and you. It's different. But for me and you, it's different. For me, it's completely different. My relationship with the family, with the dad, and even then the aunties, her sisters. So my friends, aunties and uncles, they all know me. Like they literally call me. They tell me I'm from their house, from their family. So their house name, they've given it to me.
Do you feel that? So I'll ask you a bit of a tough question. Do you feel that you are an obstacle for yourself
in what?
In integrating with the society?
No.
You feel
No, I feel like...
Did the Syrians not welcome you in? Or
no, the Syrians welcome us in.
You just naturally feel like an outsider?
The Syrians welcome us in, but I always felt like an outsider.
Like for me, but even that, I'm saying that's only a small circle.
You feel like an outsider in the UK?
No. Because why? Because I know that the people even if you talk about my friend group in the UK, a lot of my friend group were like me. A lot of them were single parent kids. A lot of them were, going through a tough time in their life. And a lot of us were boys that were growing up in that stage. And even the same here. Like, I came here, my closest mate here is Amir, and that's the one that, obviously, single parent kid who came here. And you understand, that built that likeness. That's why we grew up together. We were both the same age. We were both, do you understand? We went through all those experiences together. So that's what I think that is. I don't think it's a thing of I stopped myself from making friends or, the Syrian.
You do still have Syrian friends, obviously. Like you have Abdulrahman, and you guys are you guys are close as well, traveling, working, staying up or whatever, like that.
I like doing that. I like talking to people. I like thinking. But when it comes to your family, your close people, it's a bit different. That's how I kind of explain it.
I think, being your mum, my insight, is you was always closer to the females in our family, like your aunties who are the same age. My sisters who are the same age as you.
For that,
It's
my
because of age
nieces,
group.
and that's obviously when you came, you wasn't Islamically mature, so you were still around the females. Obviously, when you soon after we came here, alas,
the separation or whatever.
kind of shunned to the men. So obviously, I know that kind of has an effect as well on our upbringing, because over here it's more of a conservative society than it would be.
I guess it's the opposite then, isn't it?
Huh?
Did you say the opposite about me? I was well closer to all that.
And
To this.
you was growing up, you were closer to the boys. You came here, but you still had a few years.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I still. So even the
Maybe
Syrian
also hanging around with
uncles.
all the uncles.
Yeah.
So even that,
I
all
know.
the Syrian uncles. Like, if you was to ask that, if I'm closer to, even like that in families, Syrian families or foreigners, even for that, like for the Syrians, because the families, I know the mum, the dad, the uncles, the kids.
As a mum,
Yeah.
raising you guys here, in all honesty, I would know my personality and how I was raising you guys back at home. I gave you a lot more freedom here.
Yeah, I agree with
You
that.
definitely had more freedom.
That's what
you
I-
didn't have that freedom
Yeah.
At all.
And likewise you.
Yeah.
With you, I was getting to the stage
Travelling,
of
working, whatever.
worrying when you were going to school, because your school was what,
Yeah, at the same time, but
45 minutes on the train. So
obviously,
yeah, and
that's
obviously
just,
even
that's
when
just
we were
life,
saying
innit?
it really casually, yeah, my friends were all from like single parent families and this and that, and I'm thinking, yeah, in the heart of East London, like,
But
and
it's
you've
life,
got,
innit?
you were going into the
Even
stage
now.
where it's the wars between turf wars, and you were going through various different areas to get to your secondary school.
It's so what? But
So
as I
having
said,
that experience, which obviously you don't remember, which is which, like literally down our road, your uncle who got stabbed over there when he was 19.
Yeah.
So that's always been something that's been
but again, I
at the
believe,
back of my, well, not
again,
even at the back
I
of my,
always
the
believe-
forefront of my mind.
But again, I always believe it's the choices that you make.
The choices that you make, but also the environment which you're in. So like I said, obviously with her, I wouldn't, as the girls, I wouldn't give her so much freedom. And if you know my life over there, it was constantly driving you guys around. Everything was very, very sheltered, I would
Yeah,
say.
I understand.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm so happy for the childhood or the teenage years that I've had here. Sometimes, yeah, I do feel like we had to grow up faster and have to mature or whatever. But at the same time, I have had so much more freedom, fun times than people I know in the UK now. Like even now, like for example, I can walk to college or lessons. I can walk home. I can go to my friend's house. I think at this age, even being back in the UK, I don't think I would have that freedom.
Yeah, but again,
Because
that's
obviously
because-
mummy's
that's
fair,
because of- yeah,
for me.
that's because of mummy's fair. If you're being
Do you think right now at my age, 18, I would be able to go to
Well,
college,
I'm thinking
walk home,
right
go to my
now-
friend's house, go to
Right.
restaurants?
I'll be honest,
Let's-
now at 18, now would be probably the time where I'd have to let go of that rope.
Okay, but
Yeah, but alhamdulillah, I've had that freedom for so long, since I'm 13.
if I got stabbed when mama was in prison here in Syria, would you let the boys go out?
If you got stabbed,
If I got stabbed, forget about stabbing. If I got shot, because that's the reality of what's going to happen.
Yeah, not
if I got
stabbed.
shot when my key was in prison, would
Yeah,
you
but
let the boys go out?
the difference is here, it's different reasons. Obviously here, if you was going to get shot, probably maybe like some people
Oh, but
brought it
what?
on.
Because they don't
They don't like us.
They're not going to shoot you for that here. It's,
Come on, man.
If you get caught
I've been in fights
if you
because
get
people
caught in
don't
the wrong
like me.
place, I would
It's
say.
not necessarily.
No, the reality of where we've lived.
I've been chased around.
Like, if you want to say that, like, yeah.
The reality of where we've lived, where you guys have grown up, obviously now we've changed areas, but where you lived for 8 years of your,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed-
your whole teenage life.
Well, what I'm saying is,
You wouldn't
what I'm
feel,
saying
but
is-
that's
There
something
wasn't
different.
really shootings, there was the one or two odd
Okay, but
occasions.
even what I'm saying is, what my question is that takes a toll on your decision. A lot of the young lads that we grew up with here, at the end of the day, they chose that gang life, even in Syria.
Some of them were forced into it.
I don't.
Some of them chose it. Some of them.
It's the
I-
poverty that forces them.
Exactly.
It's
The
a
desire.
50-50.
Even though right now the reason most of the youth, the men are going and joining these groups and are going and standing at checkpoints and stuff and holding weapons is because they're getting paid.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is, it's the same reality.
No, but people over there are not living in
If you look
living
at
in a
both
tent.
now,
You cannot
a
compare.
young lad in England
But you can't compare.
over money. It's over. All
Yeah, but trainers, what on Boxing Day or whatever. When we was at the last thing that happened then.
For what? For money. All of these young lads.
That's a different-
It's completely different.
Let's be real.
But
Let's be
for
real.
a certain
Let's be
lifestyle,
real.
it's
Let's
not,
be
it's
real.
not just
The
for your bread
reality
and
is,
water.
no, yeah,
These
a lot
guys
of
now-
Here it's for bread and water and clothes.
Gangs
a
or
lot of young lads in England are doing it for bread and water because they want their mum to live a better life.
Yeah, it's not bread and water.
They're trying to pay the rent of their house. They're trying to get stuff. They're trying to eat food. Do you understand? There's a lot of kids that live like that.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. How do you feel when you see people in the UK? I don't want to say anything negative about that. Obviously, people doing if you got money. But for example, I'll give you an example, like the Salt Bay. What's that? That's the name. His restaurant. People going and eating there.
Yeah, I'm against
Totally against that. Totally. That just upsets.
It's not that don't go to Salt Bay's restaurant and that. I just feel like from a personal
Go there and
view,
wash the dishes.
No, from a personal view, all of this like expensive stuff and whatnot, it's just crap. Let's be real. It's like it's just for like okay, yeah, you're flaunting it, whatever, and what.
It's for a picture. Take picture and put it on
Do you
Instagram.
think you'd be under that peer pressure?
No, because I'm not that type of person.
To go these places and
No.
Like alhamdulillah, again, I'm not a type of person that's peer pressure. Like social media don't affect me and stuff.
It goes back to choices.
But I feel like if I was living in the UK,
I don't think
not to really bad what you call it, like extent, but yeah, you would still have that.
When you're talking about peer pressure to an extent where you're going out of your way to spend that much money on something stupid.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sorry, I'm not
It won't.
that type of person. I'll rather put my reality in my mind where I'm like, okay, listen, I ain't got peace with this at the moment. Why am I going to do that to myself?
But do you think that's a trait that you...
We've gained that from being here 100%.
No.
100%.
I think that's something.
Or being something you guys have implanted in us.
Exactly. From
It's from your
just,
tarbiyah.
But then I'll say on the other side, because I was raising as a single mom, then I've got everybody else spoiling you, family,
Yeah, but that's
and also
normal.
me spoiling you, so trying to give you the best of...
The
But
best.
that's normal. But
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is that's
No, but then
So
obviously then
maintain
it
it
exactly.
which would-
So one day it would have been what? It would have flipped on us.
I was trying to give you the best in everything.
Then you end up,
But
in my mind, then you end up like that. You go selling drugs, right? Because you want the life that you already had, but you can't have now.
What I'm saying is, but even in England, like we weren't doing nothing mad.
No, we was doing a lot of fun things.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that.
Let's just say let's go.
It's fun,
Yeah, you want to go Big Mo's for how much was it? £100.
£80 a meal just for me.
Yeah.
Let's just say £100. Yeah, let's add dessert in that £100 for one meal.
But that's you're talking about 6 kids.
Yeah, and if mommy wanted to do that weekly or something, she would not.
What I'm saying is,
As time goes on.
like this is my point. Does again? I believe
As family does. No,
I
family
believe
does.
everything is
No,
choices.
even growing up, seeing other members of our family or other people going out, let's say ice skating, horse riding and stuff, and us not going, it was hard. It was upsetting.
No, I feel like that's different. I feel like if I was in England and I wanted to do that, like ice skating, horse riding, whatnot, I would
How
try
would
and
you
make the
finance
money.
it?
Exactly. That's the whole.
I'll try and make that money.
As a
to do it.
13-year-old how, 14-year-old how?
I'm not talking about, you don't have to do it in legal. I'm not talking about being a 13-year-old.
We're talking about being a teenager from
Like-
13 to 18.
Again, I don't think like that's something that I would be worried about. Like, oh yeah,
But yeah.
let me like I want to go ice skating. Like, who cares?
Okay, no, I want to take my younger siblings ice skating.
Again, who
Everybody else is going.
The same-
Even now, okay, let's
I
see.
see it as the same as here.
Uh,
I wanted
they
to
co-
buy-
they-
I
they
wanted
come
to
from
buy
school.
My sister a sick phone at the time. I bought her a sick phone. I wanted to buy my mum a sick phone. I bought her. It's not. You can do the same thing in a proper way. No one's saying you have to do it in a bad way. Again, it goes back to choices.
So then, okay, what personality trait do you think then you've gained from being here? So it's one of the best characteristics that you've raised.
Independency.
Independence.
But I think that's again goes back to your tarbiyah.
And I think what do you call it? A more open mindset and worldview, like more self-awareness kind of thing.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Alright, go on with your directions of life then. Now you've finished your being a teenager. Okay, so in terms of moving forward, and that's so
Again, you don't
you
know
was
what to
obviously,
come.
huh?
You don't know what's gonna come in it.
Obviously, you can always plan.
Like
but
obviously,
we plan, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best of plans.
exactly. Like me, I'm like one of the things that we ever mentioned in this thing is like one of the things that is hard is thingy out here is that what do you call it? I was born with a heart problem. Out here, medical treatment is difficult. Do you understand? When I was younger, out here, it was alright. I got away with it. But now it's getting a lot more harder for me. So what's gonna come in my life? I don't know. Do you understand? I don't have like a answer for that question. because I don't know what's
Okay,
going to
how
happen.
about marriage? How about...
Inshallah, I hope that happens, and I hope that maybe one day I can go back. Maybe
Do
maybe
you know
one
what?
day
To be
I can do
honest, I
something.
think marriage here, marriage there, wherever you are, marriage ain't easy. It's not an easy thing, especially
Yeah, I
now, the
agree.
day and age we live in.
But I think that
If you're
a
in
lot.
the UK,
I think that
marriage
you
ain't
should
gonna
get
be
married.
easier, and I believe again, being here, marriage is easier.
No,
I believe so.
I disagree. I disagree. I feel like marriage is marriage, bro. Whether you're
No.
in England or whether you're here.
But for you, what are you finding difficult here in regards to marriage?
In regards to marriage, it depends, because obviously one of the reasons why I haven't got married here is because I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's be real. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Okay, but that's
Okay,
life.
and yeah, it's life to an extent.
I
but
understand where you're
but when
coming
you're
from,
living in
again, it's
England,
life.
when you're living in England, you know that you have that security. Do you understand? Of the country that you're living in.
But you don't though.
You do, and here,
Overnight, you
That's
get
different.
raided.
bro, that's
Then what?
different, bro. What are you talking about? And over here, you're a foreigner. Not everyone's gonna give you their child, bro. Do you understand? Because tomorrow, when you get deported or God knows what happens to you,
So would you want to marry a Syrian?
no. Another thing is obviously I believe
Clash of cultures.
no, I believe that you should marry someone that you can that you can both
Communicate.
understand each other. Communication is key, and obviously there's a lot of stuff that that has to go into a marriage. To marry just for the sake of marrying, and you don't like the the food, or you can't communicate, is a big problem, and we've
I
seen
agree
that
with that, yeah.
multiple times.
You don't want to go into a marriage.
So do you feel there's any potential spouses here for you, or you?
No,
No.
inshallah.
Right. Currently, no. But
I'm gonna sort
obviously,
myself out. I've got plans for marriage.
I
Inshallah.
mean, like right now, no. But if when it's written, it's written. For me, that's how I just see it. Because when it's written, it's written, and inshallah it will come. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills for me to get married, now or later it will happen, innit?
Yeah, that's life. That's obviously.
So what are your plans then? Well, you've still got a couple of years.
I'm gonna try
teenage.
to study, continue my studies, just continue with life.
Me, I'm just going with the flow at the moment. I'm going with the flow. We'll see what happens. Inshallah, you see what happens to AJ in 2022. It's been 8 years out here in Syria. You never know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Okay, we'll leave it at that then. Stuck for joining us. I'll see you another time.